Before this video begins, I just want to apologise for the fact that this is one of the biggest he said she said situations I've ever covered on this channel. I hope you can get past that and see the truth of the situation. MrTLexify is one of YouTube's biggest Call of Duty YouTubers, and has been on the platform since 2013. But we aren't here to talk about his rise and how he came to be online. We are here to talk about how he has been under fire recently because of his ex-partner, who goes by the name of puresoftie. She came out with some statements on Twitter about how Lex had even her. This situation began after Lex was under some fire on Twitter. A YouTuber that goes by the name of Renzaru responded to a tweet about a video Lex made responding to some drama in the Call of Duty Zombies community. Now, the details in that situation isn't massively relevant, but the short version is this. This person called Danny, who was someone who actually made some of the COD zombie maps, basically had a Patreon that he was funding for his work for more zombie maps. Only this turned out to be a scam, since he wasn't working on any of the maps like the Patreon had promised. And this had gone on for 3 years. And he had put out a statement saying he was going through a tough time, and that is why he hasn't been working. But most people called him out of these lies, since he was posting himself on holiday throughout the years with expensive items like cars, with the money people were giving him for the maps that he was supposed to be creating. So rightfully, the people were mad with him. Well, Lex had actually made a video defending the guy, which caused said YouTuber Renzaru to make a post responding to Lex's bad response to the drama. Yeah, guys, if you got scammed by Danny, you know that sucks, but he does make some pretty good maps, so I think he gets a pass this time, folks. Who the fuck lets Lex speak on anything in this community? Is he genuinely the dumbest motherfucker ever? Someone who rightfully deserves to be called out and kicked out of a community for stealing thousands of dollars from people is getting defended by someone with one of the largest influence in this community. If you genuinely want a full-depth explanation of what happened, just go watch At Hole's video on the whole thing. SBP is right, it really does feel like since his video got 200k, now people want to talk about it. This shit has been going on for months, even years, with the water park scam. Unbelievable. Fuck you, Lex. This then led to a lot of people criticising Lex on Twitter. Ren responded to people criticising Lex, saying this: I made him make a response back to me because he wanted to make it very clear he is not homophobic, with the defense being, I'm not homophobic because I'm not scared of gay people. He went on to delete this response on Twitch and reblock me on Twitter and act like it never happened. LMAO. I think it's worth noting that Renzaru and Lex have had beef for a very long time, and Ren has every right to be annoyed with Lex, since Lex had given him a false copyright strike over an image of a remastered zombies map that Lex for some reason believed he thought he had the rights to. However, another response to Renzaru's tweet came into light when someone spoke about Lex's ex-partner. Since we are dunking on him, he also cheated on his girlfriend. They also attached these two photos. Ren had caught wind on some of these tweets about Lex's ex-girlfriend and posted a tweet talking about how Lex was dating a minor when he was 18 and she was 15. However, Lex decided to do the one thing most people never do when being accused of dating minors online, and that is reply as quick as possible. He posted a tweet saying this: I would like to address a situation of people specifically in the zombies community targeting and harassing me, being Renzaru, SBP, and DigDug7. These people have been targeting me in every manner, trying to erase my image, and I would like the community to know that they have only ever tried to harass me and take me off the platform. My past with Renzaru is that he has stolen multiple of my thumbnail assets and has now decided to thwart me with every turn and by blocking me and constantly sending people to harass me over the last couple of months with images of me as a rat, making fun of me for dyeing my hair rainbow and essentially spreading lies. I have blocked these YouTubers because they only want to destroy my image, and I do not want to seek a solution in any means. My ex and I met when we were both minors, as a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. She wanted to date me, but I had constantly told her that we were too young, and we decided to remain as friends. We then later decided to date and ended the relationship because I wanted to get out of the relationship as we weren't good fit. We had gone back together multiple times as an adult until I realised that I had been cheated on with her by a minor behind my back. I have never gone public about this information until now because this has brought me so much pain in my life trying to understand the whole situation, and I've paid for so much of her life and wanted nothing but the best for her. And she led me on for years until I realised that she cheated on me for a 17-year-old when she was 21 years old. I have an active cease and desist against my ex for blackmailing, extortion, and harassment against me. My ex has tried to misconstrue, such as the time I had a fan who was a minor message me when I had opened my DMs. I have never gone out of my way to ever message anyone who is a minor, nor do I entertain these conversations once I figure out that person I'm talking to is a minor. I have only ever tried to date someone who is my age, which I am currently doing, and because of situations like these, I will not be publicising my private life anymore, as this is what it has costed me. I would like everyone to know that the amount of pain and suffering I've gone through with this whole situation, and I wanted nothing but the best for everyone involved, but this harassment has reached its massive limit for me, and it is a massive relief that I get to finally disclose this information, as my ex has been trying to destroy my career with my online YouTuber friends. friends, my family, and my entire life. Lex's response would actually catch the attention of his ex-girlfriend. I feel so fucking violated that I even have to make this statement. I have kept my mouth quiet for 8 years. I am honestly so overwhelmed and sad Lex has been trying to scare me for the past year with legal action. I will be making a formal statement compiling all the evidence I have over the past 8 years. Skype calls, Twitter DMs, real life photos, the times Lex put his hands on me, the times he supplied me alcohol and drugs as a minor, everything. I will not sit here and lose to my abuser and groomer. I've already lost the most important years of my life to you. Now, Lex responded to her tweets in a way which was definitely one of the weirdest ways to do it. He leaked pictures of her diary when she was talking about this said minor that he said she was dating. I am not even sure where to start here. Firstly, she has a diary, and secondly, did he just have these photos from when they were together and took pics of them in case he ever needed to leak them? It doesn't help that it is almost impossible to read, but this was Lex's way of showing how she had sex with a minor when she was 21 and they were 17. Then she replied with this tweet: I am not a paedophile. I also never raped anyone. Lex is lying on my name to try and deflect any hate coming towards him. I did not rape a 17-year-old, and the fact that I have to say this is disgusting. Lex knows he is a paedophile, which is why he's trying so hard to grasp at straws. Lex raped me when I was 16 years old and he was 19 years old. I told Lex multiple times that I didn't want to have sex, but he would persist and beg me. I never wanted to lose my virginity to Lex. I have the proof, I have the evidence, I just need the time to make my timeline. Hi MrTLexify, please don't lie on my name before I post all the evidence I have of us hanging out when I was 16 years old and you were 19. This is so wrong of you to try and flip this on me. These videos have now become lost media, and it was basically Lex supposedly touching her in a sexual manner where she was telling him to stop. Now what we do know is that this took place in California where the age of consent was 18 and she was claiming to be 16. Also, regarding the diary photos that are being leaked, she posted a photo of a letter that was apparently Lex writing a love letter apology. It is a bit small and hard to read, but you can see him supposedly saying, I am sorry for choking you. Lex then responded by leaking more of her diary on Twitter where she was talking about Lawrence. Lawrence is the 17-year-old she was sleeping with when she was 21. She speaks about how his mum made a rule where they can only see each other on weekends, and she also mentions that she has a, and I quote, pretty pussy power. Okay then. But this does prove that Lex was cheated on by her. She replied to the diary getting leaked for a second time by saying, the photos Lex just posted on his Twitter of my personal diary that he went through when we were living together in Hollywood. Again, completely violating me in my space. Notice how Lex isn't denying anything I've said, but instead trying to flip it on me. Yeah, after you choked me, another man treated me better and showed me the type of love I deserve. Yes, I cheated on Lex after he put his hands around my neck. Here is one of the love letters Lex sent me trying to apologise for choking me. Yes, I forgave Lex after he choked me because I was clearly too weak to stand up for myself. She did mention that Lex was contacting her mother during this time. It would have been nice to see proof after that claim, but whatever. She also claims that Lex is deflecting by calling her a pedo when she is saying that he is one. At the same time, she is denying the allegations and claims that he was 18 and she was 20. This is where a lot of the he said she said starts to really get annoying for most people, since it essentially became, you're a pedo, no, you're a pedo. There were also claims saying that Lex was talking to a 13-year-old sexually. It was never said that he was talking to them sexually, but why would you post these screenshots of him talking to a 13-year-old if you weren't implying something dodgy had happened? A girl that goes by the name of Alexandra came out on Twitter saying Lex carried on talking to her after he found out she was 13. Mind you, he DM'd me first and continued talking to me and Skyped me after I told him I was 13, even saying he wanted a friend in Ireland he could come visit, knowing my age and that I was a fan. MrTLexify cared to explain why he was Skyping a 13-year-old in 2018. Now, this doesn't prove anything sexual had happened. All she showed that after a friend request was made on Skype, a 6-minute call had happened. Unfortunately for her, it's hard to just believe Lex is doing something illegal when the only proof is that he spoke to a 13-year-old on Skype before he even knew her age. Now, going back to Lex's ex, Lex decided to do one of the worst things a man could do to himself just to prove that she was dating a 17-year-old when she was 21. Now, yes, he does prove that she did date a 17-year-old when she was 21, but in the process he also exposes some nasty information about himself. These DMs go on for ages, and some of them talk about how Lex is so fat he can't see his penis, and other degrading shit. He started to like that he was cheated on and he wanted to be a cuck. He referred to himself as the Lawrence in the relationship. She would insult him and he would say that he is sorry, but it's just nasty to read, to be honest. It's never a pleasure to read a man's degrading kinks for YouTube content. I'm not really too sure what my life has come to. Lex's ex then came out of a Google document showing how he was an abusive person. I think it is worth noting that to this date, the doc has been deleted by her, and this is all an archive I had to fish out. Hi everyone, this is part 1 of my explanation with everything going on. In this Google doc, I address Lex contacting me as a minor and forming a romantic romantic relationship with me as a minor, knowing I was a minor. There is a lot to address, and I'm going to be addressing everything in order, as things happened in my life. This is my story. Lex, the person who this story is about, is trying to take away any credibility from me before I can get a formal response out. This entire thing is incredibly invasive, since I will be posting pictures of me as a minor. Lex is purposefully leaving this out of his timeline, so I have to show this. Trigger warning, these are very intimate photos that show myself getting groomed over years by my favourite YouTuber. My story starts off as me as a 15-year-old fangirl. I went to the Z House, met up in Santa Monica on January 24th, 2016. I got to meet Lex and get a picture with him, but I was too shy to do any type of interacting with him. After the meetup, I continued being a fangirl and would reply to Lex's public tweets, and even tweeted him some cringe fan art that he retweeted. Lex followed me on Twitter after I interacted with more of his tweets, but he didn't message me until I tweeted out something about needing help with the Zetsubo no Shima Easter egg. Lex sent me my own tweet and offered to help me. I gladly accepted his help and downloaded Skype to talk to him. Our first ever conversation went on for 4 hours, and we proceeded to do this regularly, daily. Lex and I met in 2016 and started speaking when I was 15 and he was 18 years old. We formed an online relationship before we met in person, with the intentions of dating in 2017. Here is a screenshot with dates, confirming that Lex first talked to me when I was 15 and he was 18. He was telling me how much he appreciated my female presence in his life because he never really had one when he was younger. And the caption on my Instagram post is me saying I am happy we made it past a year knowing each other. The screenshot she shows us here just proves that they were talking during this time. There is not much context within the text because I assumed this was just to prove that they had actually spoken to each other. I do also want to say that when YouTubers date their fans, it always seems to be a bit weird to me, since there is definitely a power dynamic within the relationship, whether Lex is guilty of these things or not. I think it is just good to meet people in real life. She also attached some photos of them meeting together, one of them holding hands and another of them next to each other. The night we met, we spent the night together in a hotel room, where Lex became my first kiss. I only have this image of me in the hotel the next day, crying because Lex had to go back to LA again. This all happened in California. She links this photo to prove the dates and location to back up her claim. Our second time meeting in person was on July 10th, 2017, when he booked a hotel for a weekend in Oceanside and took me to Disneyland. This was also my first time at Disneyland. He stayed until July 13th. In this hotel room, Lex and I would make out. He would try to take things further, but I was very adamant on saying no. One night, Lex took it too far with me and touched my breasts under my shirt, causing me to leave home for the night because I felt uncomfortable. I ended up coming back the next morning in my pajamas. By the way, this is in California, Disneyland. So she shows the photos on her snap to prove that they were at this location, to add some legitimacy to these claims. She mentions California again as well, just to talk about the age of consent being 18. August 12th, 2017 is when Lex invited me over to the Z House in LA, as well as the Boogie Boys house in LA. I spent multiple weekends with Lex in LA, partying with him and his friends, as well as going out to dinners and events with them. Lex lied about my age to all his friends, telling them I was 18 years old. Lex even changed my birth year on a passport for an escape room that he and all his friends and I did together, so that no one would catch on. This escape room was in Hollywood, in California. She shows the fake IDs in question to show that Lex knew what she was doing was definitely wrong, since she wouldn't have made a fake ID if what you were doing was legal. It shows us that her fake date of birth was in 1998, which would have made her 19 in 2017. Here are some of the videos of Lex and I at the Z House. He would get me drunk and take me back to a hotel, away from the Z House, in hopes of getting laid. The reason I say stop in one of the videos is because Lex was running his fingers across my breast in a playful manner, trying to touch me without my permission. I am 16 years old and Lex is 19 years old. In the video I'm about to show you, Lex says in the video that it is his fault that they are this drunk, and since at face value we do believe she is underage drinking, this would be very wrong for Lex to do.
Fucking don't understand you. Don't understand you. Ooh. I love you guys. Reagan. But do you? I would literally
say something to sober us.
Sober us. This was my fault. This was my fault. I love this person so much. If you ever... Why do you think that's gonna make it better? Listen, I will do anything.
Every night I spent with Lex, he would beg me to do something. He would beg to eat me out, beg to finger me, beg to touch me anywhere, and beg to have sex with me. I always said no. It took a lot of begging from Lex for me to unwillingly give him what he wanted. Lex already raped me multiple times at the Z House. I would wake up with no memory of the night before and with hickeys on my neck. On the last night at the Z House, everyone left early and Lex was the only one staying in the Airbnb. This night, Lex made plans to get me high and take my virginity. He took me to the store with him to buy some condoms since I was very paranoid about about the idea of no protection. When we came back to the Z house, Lex tried to set the mood for us by getting me high and putting on anime. The weed made me so paranoid and it made the anime so loud that I got so overstimulated and cried to Lex that I didn't want to have sex that night. Lex didn't end up taking my virginity this night, but he expressed how upset he was that he bought condoms for no reason. Yet I was not old enough to give consent anyways. Lex proceeded to get a hotel room for him and I. For the next few days after the Z house ended, on August 31st, 2017, Lex took my virginity in this hotel room, after begging me over and over. He begged me to have sex with him since that was our last night together, and he was going back home to Canada. The whole experience was awful. I did not want to have sex with him. We made up next morning and said our goodbyes to each other. He made plans to come back and see me. Since I do not have pictures of us in the hotel room, here are pictures with the dates, proving that Lex and I were together at this time. The image of him with hearts around him was at the video recording for his 1 million subscriber special. Lex and I stayed in contact every day, leading up to us meeting again in person on April 21st. 2018, now I'm 17 years old, and Lex is now 20 years old. Lex came down to book a hotel room, smoke weed and have sex with me. He also bought me my first smoking paraphernalia on this trip. She links a video of her showing that her and Lex did have a pipe and smoking illegally. She was making the point that Lex was just wanting to get her high to use her for sex. After that, Lex came back during June 2018 to spend his summer living in California with me. The Z house weren't doing another summer in California together, so Lex decided to have his own summer here. He rented an Airbnb and stayed for 2 months. This is when Lex started being overly sexual and toxic towards me in person. He would have sex with me multiple times over the course of this month, even buy me Plan B to avoid possible pregnancy. We would constantly argue during this time period together, and I would spend a lot of my time locked alone in my bathroom. Lex was also taking me to high school and picking me up after school, so I could be with him more. Obviously, when she says he used to pick her up from high school, that is never normally a good sentence when you are dating. Our next meet up in person was for my high school homecoming dance. Once again, Lex booked a fancy hotel for us to have sex in. He did take me to my homecoming dance, and we even bought the printed photos that were taken of us. This is the only photo I have of Lex and I right after sex, but in this photo he is 20 and I am 17 years old. The photos have the dates attached to them. She gives us a photo of them both naked straight after sex. Not too sure why an after sex selfie was in order, but I won't judge. She claims it is her only proof to show that they had sex when she was 17 and he was 20. She also shows a photo of Lex taking her to her school prom. This photo was taken in 2018. The next photo I'm providing is a text convo between Lex and I. This is my old phone number. I am 17 years old and this wasn't the first time we had sexted. He ended the convo by sending me a dick pic. I never enjoyed sexting Lex and was only doing it to please him. Lex had a high sex drive and I had no sex drive at all. He also groomed me into calling him daddy at a young age because it fueled his kinks. And here we can see them sexting with each other. It also mentioned that the next time they would be meeting, she would finally be of legal age to have sex. I'm fucking fapping so hard to your goddess body. I'm gonna be legal next time you fuck me. No more underage pussy, daddy. Good, now I can tear you apart in public. I love you, but I love being a minor. Getting fucked by you, by daddy. You're still my minoring. Shush. What the fuck? What am I reading? What the fuck is this? And here we have the photo of Lex sending his penis with the caption, "Good night, baby. There is my offering. I love you so much. I dream of that, daddy. I love you so much more." I didn't need to read them more. Lex first started sexting me when I was 15 years old. On October 29th, 2016, via Twitter DMs. This was also the first time he had ever told me he loved me. I remember the date so vividly because this was the time I had done anything remotely sexual in my life. I do not have the screenshots anymore to back up this claim. I only have screenshots of Lex DMing me sexual things on Twitter back in 2018 when I was 17 years old via email. She shows us some Twitter DMs where Lex was sexting her in some vile way, so I'm not even going to read these out. The daddy thing I have never really understood, but hey man, you do you. This message also was funny to me where Lex just randomly said the N-word with just no context. In his screenshot under this text, Lex sends me a tweet about another YouTuber couple who he saw as his friends and acknowledges that he is dating me even though I'm not legal. In the DM she leaks here, we can see that Lex knows that she is illegal to date, so that's not the best look, admittedly. While the age gap isn't anything like EDP or Dr. Disrespect, I don't think it's hard to stick to the age gap your country has left you with, unless it's below 16. Germany, I'm looking at you. In the UK, the age of consent is 16, so in school I remember seeing the age gap of 17 and 19 and 20 all the time. No one ever used to bat an eye with that kind of thing in the UK. Although it's an age gap I would never normally get involved in, it is very strange, just not predatory. But if it's illegal where you are, like it was for Lex, then there is no excuse. Now some of you might ask, how is this grooming by definition is the action of attempting to form a relationship with a child or a young person with the intention of sexually assaulting them. Many things contribute to the lifetime of grooming. I've gone through. But when Lex met me, he knew I was a virgin, he begged to do things to me, he begged to have sex with me, he bought me things, and took me to Disneyland for my first time, with the hopes of getting laid. But I was a child and I was scared. Throughout the time, I knew Lex as a minor, until I turned 18. Lex was my provider and would give me things that my parents could not. For example, Lex would always get me the new video games that came out, along with season passes for DLC, just so he could play games with me. Anything Lex bought me was in turn a way to get closer to him. This is just part 1 of my story. I only told this story up until I turned 18, which now means things will be considered illegal. I will be releasing a part 2, addressing things that happened when I became a legal adult, and debunking many of Lex's claims against me with more proof. Lex purposefully left out this part of our timeline from his Google Doc, and he deliberately is stating that our relationship started when I was 18, but here is my evidence proving him wrong. Now, the Google Doc that she had actually made was a response to an already made Google Doc that Lex had made addressing the situation. Her doc doesn't actually seem to be addressing anything that he had actually claimed or said, thus to why I read hers first. She also deleted her doc, which in my opinion is never really a good look when you're trying to make a serious claim. Lex's Google Doc starts off with him showing a photo of a bandage taped around his face because he was bit by his ex. He claims she went crazy and caused property damages, and later she had staged a video where she got him drunk the night before and set him up with her camera and harassed her in the morning, which he self-defended from as she physically abused him. February 11th, 2021. This photo shows a bandage taped to my face after being bitten by Regan. The bite drew blood as seen underneath my chin. This happened after she broke a wooden board on my back that was a part of the Airbnb property in Coronado. The claim of me choking her comes from this incident where she went berserk and caused property damages. Later she staged a video where she got me drunk the night before and set up her camera and harassed me in the morning, which I self-defended as she physically abused me. May 24th, 2022. A photo of me with a bruise mark on my cheek after Regan had started an altercation with a bystander, which resulted with me getting punched in a street fight. July 6th, 2023. Photo proof of damages that were paid for after Regan had actually had an outburst and destroyed the door at my apartment in 2022. The cost was for replacing the entire door because of her kicking and punching it. November 19th, 2022. Photos of Regan on her Twitter account, puresoftie, direct messaging me to kill myself, and I had tried, profusely apologizing to her as she threats to expose me and defame my online career. May 2021, August 2023. Photo evidence of my ex using me for tens of thousands of dollars. I have never gone after teenagers. Alex has posted a photo of me calling her to vent about my ex. That's it. The rest of the Google Doc shows that Lex was badly mistreated by her. So from what we can see here is that they are both scumbags, to be honest. One is worse than the other, but they are both bad people. So after Lex had come out with this statement, she later made her own Google Doc that we previously went through. But she had also made a part 2 to her Google Doc, which has also been deleted. We can also see in his Google Doc that he had actually given her tens of thousands of dollars. Hello, this is part 2 of my incredibly long document about MrTLexify grooming me and abusing me. In this document, I showed the proof of Lex putting his hands on me twice, which is also confirmed by Lex. In his document, I debunk all of Lex's lies. I also give background context because Lex made sure not to include any. Picking up where I left off, I had just turned 18 years old and Lex spent it with me. Now that I had reached 18 years old, Lex was no longer afraid to share our relationship, and I had still no realization that I'd been groomed. I am now almost 3 years into my relationship with Lex. I was addicted to weed, mental health was the worst it's ever been, my grades were declining, my social life was inconsistent, and I was over-sexualizing myself for Lex's pleasure. Every aspect needed to keep me relying on Lex, since I spent a lot of my time on the phone with Lex. I didn't realize that my high school grades were tarnished. I ended up receiving professional help from psychiatrists at my school because of how mentally impacted I was feeling by Lex in my life. I never told my psychiatrist about my relationship with Lex because I knew it was wrong and I knew that it was the problem. I just didn't want to admit it. Lex had groomed me into keeping quiet about the relationship for so long that even when I was of age, I still didn't post about us often. Despite the negative impact Lex was having on my life, I continued dating him. He seemed like the only person who would be there for me at times, and he was my best friend. After my 18th birthday, Lex came down again to California for his birthday. During this trip, I went through Lex's phone while he was asleep and found out that he was texting multiple girls, trying to take any of them out, but having no luck. I confronted Lex about it and broke up with him that day, which from being 18 years old to being 20 years old, Lex and I dated like a normal legal couple. Still, the grooming aspects were still the forms of the kinks, and Lex was providing me a lot in my life. During the year 2021, Lex came down to California and rented out an Airbnb for close to 3 months. From January 2021 to March 2021, this is where Lex first became physically abusive. The photo where Lex claims I bit him with malicious intent happened during this trip. Lex and I were play wrestling in the dark room. Lex got too aggressive with me and scared me with the way he was contorting my body. I told him to stop and I accidentally bit him out of fear. Afterwards, we turned the lights on and quickly applied bandages on him. I apologized to Lex and expressed to him that I thought he was going to hurt me. Lex also apologized to me for scaring me. For reference, Lex is 6'1", at the time weighed 250 pounds. I am 5'5", and at the time weighed 110 pounds. You can see in the image above that Lex had almost a healed cut mark on his cheek. We continued to live together in the Airbnb after that night because it wasn't an actual fight. like Lex is trying to frame it. No fight will ever compare to the one we had the night of March 14, 2021. This was the night that Lex first choked me by my neck with his bare hands. On March 14th, 2021, Lex and I were going at it verbally. I was rolling a joint on a tray and sitting down on the couch of the Airbnb. Lex was getting heated with me and I was calmly rolling up my joint. During the argument, Lex stops mid-sentence and goes, "And that's my weed, I paid for that." He lunges to me and proceeded to take the tray out of my hands. He fights with me for about 5 seconds before the tray inevitably breaks. I threw the broken tray at Lex's back out of self-defense, which caused Lex to turn around and tackle me to the ground. My 6'1" boyfriend, Lex, tackled me to the ground, sat on top of me and put both hands around my neck. I will never forget the look in Lex's eyes as he spent multiple seconds choking me out. My vision got blurry and I was starting to lose my ability to breathe. I closed my eyes for a moment and that's when Lex got off me. I don't have images of my bruised neck. I only have 2 videos from the night it happened, recording myself crying and trying to process the fact that my boyfriend just put his bare hands on me. I also have multiple witnesses who saw me crying that night and I had expressed to them that I was physically abused by my boyfriend. Once Lex left back home to Canada, our relationship was hanging on by a thread. I was no longer comfortable with the man who was once my best friend. Because of this, Lex would send me flowers attached with love letters as a way to try and get my forgiveness. Below are some images of the love letter that Lex wrote to me, apologizing for the fact that he choked me. So in these love letters, he refers to himself as Dada, and he also admits to choking her out, so there's that confirmation there. Lex signs the bottom of these letters using his company name, Edit It, and once again, Lex is using the word like daddy and dada to refer to himself because even though I'm 20 years old and he is 23 years old, he has successfully groomed me into implementing his kinks into our daily lives. He even makes sure to mention that I will be his child forever because he liked me more when I was younger. Lex also makes sure to reinforce his initial by telling me he will continue to provide for me. The image above shows the second love letter Lex sent me, apologizing for choking me. I had told Lex multiple times that I wanted to break up with him because of that fact that he choked me. Lex damaging my mental health was another thing that I confronted him about, which is why he's apologizing for that too. Of course, my story just doesn't end there. I don't free myself from Lex. I let him manipulate me back into the relationship by letting him buy me my dream art tablet. He knew that if he bought me something, I would be more inclined to forgive him, along with whatever love bombing tactics he used on me. The combination of Lex sending me flowers to my doorstep, buying me an art tablet, and texting me sweet nothings convinced me that Lex loved me again. We can see in the second love letter he admits to choking her out. After that, Lex decided it was time for him to move to California without a visa, meaning he could only stay in America for 3 months out of the year. This is when my relationship with Lex officially started crumbling. We would argue every day. He was consuming a lot of porn even though he was living with me, which made me consider I wasn't enough for him, and he didn't let me do anything to substance for myself. We were a public couple though, and publicly things looked great. We streamed on Twitch together and even helped me start my streaming on my own. I first found out that Lex was still cheating on me when someone DM'd me on Instagram February 7th, 2023, Lex saying he was currently DMing a girl who was barely legal. When I received this DM, I was furious. I knew that Lex was trying to do what he did to me, to another teen girl. I immediately confronted Lex about it and told him that I knew he was texting young girls. I just truly didn't know how bad he was getting. It wasn't until Lex came back down to California in June 2023, I went through Lex's phone as he was asleep again and found out that he had been texting other young girls. Here is an image of Lex wishing a girl happy 18th birthday. How he knew her before her 18th birthday is something I'm uncertain of. Lex is 24 years old in these texts. As I continued going through Lex's phone, I found more young girls he was communicating inappropriately with. He was finding them through dating apps as well, which tells you the age of the girl. Lex was using his Bumble profile strategically, making sure that this bio was about him being a famous YouTuber. Lex was also telling these young girls of dating apps that he lived in Vancouver and that he would meet them there, when he actually lives in his mum's basement. Lex also lured the young girls by telling them he'd buy them things they wanted if they dated him. Here is a video that Lex sent of himself to an 18-year-old girl as verification when she asked him if he was really the YouTuber with over 2 million subscribers. The girl asked Lex to put his thumb on his chin as verification. Now there is something important I need to address here, and is that I don't see how him using an 18+ website to cheat on you is proof of him other girls. Proves that he cheated. This is in no way proves that he's a groomer though to other people. It is a massive reach to come to that conclusion when it is an 18+ dating app. Now after the document came out, Lex came out with a 30-minute video titled My Ex. In this video he pretty much debunks most of the accusations coming towards him. To show the context, I will be presenting some of his video to show some of his innocence. Lex proves that she was lying about the police report. She had claimed there was never one against her, but within minutes of Lex talking he shows the receipts of that there was one made on her.
It has taken me a few times to create this video because of the advice of my lawyers, as there is a legal investigation in place.
If you remember earlier, we spoke about the woman that came out stating that Lex had spoken to them when they were 13. There was no proof of this conversation being sexual or anything. All it ended up being was Lex talking about his ex and moaning about her in private to this 13-year-old. While that itself is strange, to trauma dump your issues to a 13-year-old fan, he proves this was another lie to make him look as bad as possible.
Things started in July 2024, where people on Twitter began harassing myself about messaging someone named Alex. I have reason to believe that these were Reagan's minions she sent to do her bidding as she was under cease and desist. Alex was a fan of my channel, who had messaged me first because I momentarily opened my Twitter DMs to the public. Alex was the one who initiated the conversation with me. Our communication included a short Skype call during which I discussed the abuse I was currently experiencing with my ex-girlfriend Reagan. The conversation was strictly non-sexual and was never taken anywhere inappropriate. Alex was simply a kind fan that I confided in after a heated argument with my ex-girlfriend Reagan. Alex has also come out to admit that she has never accused me of doing anything wrong.
Lex addresses the fact that his ex accused him of being a paedophile when he speaks on the fact that when they were separated, he was using 18+ app to talk to other girls, and the girl he was with now is the same age as him.
Reagan accused me of messaging minors, which is once again a completely false accusation. When we were not in a relationship together, I was using dating apps like Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble, where the minimum age to join is 18. The age of consent globally on these apps is 18, ensuring that everyone that I communicated with was of legal age. I want to emphasize that I do not specifically target dating 18-year-olds and minors as my ex-girlfriend claims. My current partner, who I've been with for almost a year now, is my age. Reagan even states in her own document that the women I reached out to were all 18. She has no genuine proof of backing her claims of pedophilia, and no proof that I was only messaging 18-year-olds, as many of the women I tried to date were in their 20s.
Lex also addresses this Lawrence person that his ex was cheating on him with, and mentions that he learned about his true age from her diary.
I never went on a date with another woman. One of the clear breaks in our relationship was in September 2021 when she told me she wanted to pursue someone named Lawrence. She was already cheating on me with him months prior, as evidence of this Instagram photo. I first learned about Lawrence's true age of 17 when I found her diary that detailed her cheating on me as an adult when we were in a relationship earlier that year. Reagan did this simply because I had tried messaging other women to escape this relationship. Reagan later stated that Lawrence's parents had kicked her out of his house and called the police on her when they discovered Reagan was lying about her age.
Lex also talks about how he was also made to be a pay pig in the relationship. I believe that what she did to Lex in this instance is nasty and actually disgusting. The fact that she had made him go broke multiple times as blackmail is just evil for her to do. While Lex is no saint in this instance, mentally torturing him in the relationship isn't called for.
In this time, Reagan started extorting me for my money, as evidence from PayPal statements from 2019 to 2023 until I filed a cease and desist against her. The extortion became severe as I had gone broke multiple times for her rent, lifestyle, and cheating on me with other men, which proves her claim of me simply being a pay pig false.
The situation about Lex choking her is explained differently from Lex's side, and unfortunately for her, his side makes way more sense and provides more context. While there is no way of 100% knowing what Lex had actually done that night, he explains that it was all act of self-defense since he was fearing for his life.
Reagan had shared her made-up side of the choking incident in her Part 2 Google document. In reality, the situation happened much differently. While we were at the Airbnb in Coronado, California, Reagan saw that I had texted other women on my phone, as she would not allow me to leave the relationship since she threatened my career. I could not leave this situation, as I was broke and away from my home country of Canada, and I'd spent $12,000 on an Airbnb that I could not refund. Reagan went into a manic episode and broke a wooden board on my back and then started destroying the Airbnb. Reagan says she was using marijuana, which is not at all possible, as Airbnb hosts do not allow drug use on their property. The Airbnb host, Victor, even questioned why it looked like someone had repeatedly stabbed the walls, which were damages from Reagan that I had to pay for. Victor never mentioned anything about marijuana at all. When she started destroying the Airbnb, she first broke the wooden board over my back, took the broken pieces of board and deteriorated the walls, and then started threatening my life. In an act of self-defense, I had to restrain her to prevent further property damage and physical harm to myself, as my life was under threat.
Lex then also explains how she freaked out at him for talking to other girls when they weren't even in a relationship. She also blackmailed him with a supposed choking video and was saying how he was going to be paying for her rent. So her main motive was to suck as much money out of him as possible, and violently attacked him for talking to other girls when they were split up. This is just showing the psychotic behavior of this woman.
She would always get physical whenever I tried to escape the relationship. The second incident was staged, as evidenced by her Part 2 document where she admitted she would delete this choking video if I provided her with a boob and nose job. Reagan woke me up at 5 a.m. and physically assaulted me after looking through my phone and seeing text messages of mine with other girls. The physical abuse was so bad that I had to self-defend and restrain her to get her away from me. Once again, keep in mind, we were not dating, and I was solely there to get my belongings and help her move into a new place. This was after I figured out Reagan was cheating on me with a minor. Reagan did this to ensure that I would keep paying for her and her new apartment. I was so broke, I could not even get a hotel that night. My only option was to sleep at her place. Despite Reagan's claim that unfortunately that her phone wasn't recording, she still threatened me that she would release this video if I did not continue to pay for her rent, lifestyle, and surgical procedures.
Lex also beats the allegation where she had a bruise on her leg. She claimed that he had done this to her with abuse, but Lex showed receipts where this could have not possibly happened.
In regards to the photo of her bruised leg, these photos are fake, as at the time we were moving from one apartment complex to another. Reagan claims this event took place on June 6, 2023, with the photo being taken on June 7, 2023. I had taken a picture of movers spending the entire day and night on June 6th, supposed event of physical abuse, moving our stuff from her old apartment into the new one. On June 7th, we were also not in our old place where she took this photo of her bruised leg. There was no time for any of these accusations to have taken place, and if something did occur, the movers would have noticed. Reagan was in 3 separate car accidents in Los Angeles during 2022 to 2023. These bruises were from these car accidents when we lived in our old apartment where I was not in the car at the time. Reagan had also messaged a fan of hers regarding why the bruise was there in a Twitter post in 2023, which she has now deleted. She also has Instagram evidence of her showing that bruise in a photo in 2022 before this incident could have ever occurred. The photo of her bruise does not make sense, as this could not happen from her claim of me kneeling on her. This bruise looks like a high-impact car crash.
As you can see, there is a recurring pattern in this video. Lex has easily shown more receipts of dates and photos that make more sense and add way more context. Unfortunately for her, I believe that she has actually made up the bruise allegation to go against Lex. The car crash bruise just makes way more sense than Lex leaning on her leg. When it came to the video she leaked on a previous Google Doc, she showed a clip of them smiling, having a good time, and this was supposed to be proof of her being sexually abused. Lex later addresses this video.
Another serious accusation against me is that I groped my ex-girlfriend at a Z-House party. The video she cites as evidence is misleading, as we were already in a public consensual relationship, which can be seen in numerous social media posts where she is showing me off and bragging about how much she loves being in a relationship with me. Nobody at the Z-House ever witnessed any sexual abuse, as this simply did not occur. This includes the oral rape accusation that never happened. Reagan, who was coherent and filming these videos, was seen laughing and sticking her tongue out and recording these videos happily. She has provided no proof or documentation of any discomfort and then later asked when she could come and see me again.
Addressing the fake ID I mentioned earlier that she claimed that Lex got for her, she claims that it was for the use of alcohol and sex, which is a complete lie from her. She also spoke about the escape room they were going to be doing on that trip, and some escape rooms have to be 18 years or older, so she had made the fake ID for the use of going to the escape room.
Friends first met Reagan, she had asked me to lie about her age. As seen in photos, she would constantly lie to people about her age, and even admitted that when we first met, she lied and told me that she was 16. She also found it hot AF to date older guys and stated that at a young age, she knew she wanted to be with an older man. Reagan never mentioned having a problem with our 2-year age gap relationship. It is very important to note that when my friends first met Reagan, Reagan had asked me to lie to them about her age. She even lied to me about her age. Her claim that I used an escape room passport to lie to my friends about her age is entirely false. She was the one who forged her own passport with her own fake ID, and I had told her to go outside and not participate in the escape room as it was 18 and over. Reagan decided to lie to join the escape room. Reagan had never used this to prove anyone about her age, contrary to her claims.
I think the main thing to take from Lex's response is this: innocent until proven guilty. It is completely unfair that people would just automatically assume that she was in the right 100%. Lex was dating someone at 18 when he was 20. Not only is this legal, it had no abuse, and all the claims she made were easily debunked. Unfortunately for Lex, she wasn't done here. Regan decided to make a 2-hour-long video addressing Lex's video, and this video is the definition of a clusterfuck. Regan would post her own video about Lex titled "My Story of How I Dated My Favorite YouTuber MrTLexify." Now, to say that her video was bad would be an understatement. YouTube has since deleted her video because of her own stupid decisions. Hi, hello, Jay here from the future. Just wanted to point out that she actually reposted her video. It's now sitting on around 900 views. So yeah, she proceeds to show us photos and videos of her supposedly being underage in sexual positions and nudes, and she thought that would be a good idea to post. So the clip you are about to see is heavily censored. This video is also filled with lies and is very inconsistent.
To dinner together at Buffalo Wild Wings, and his friends continued to make jokes about how Lex looked like he got mauled because of all the hickeys on his neck. The jokes are really humiliating and embarrassing for me because I was a child. I didn't know what sex was. I didn't know that hickeys would do that. I also have some images of the hickeys that I gave Lex as well as myself. The next photo I'm going to show is from the date that Lex, Adrian, and I won first raped me through pen. The Sheraton Gateway, Los Angeles, and he even confirms this himself in a Twitter DM to me. I'd like to add a trigger warning before showing this image because it shows a child being. It shows mine and Lex's faces. In this image, you can see 19-year-old Lex, Adrian, I won, sucking on my 16. You can tell that I'm 16 years old in this photo because of how young my face looks and because of how I have long natural colored hair, which is brown. I'm really sorry if I sound robotic as I'm talking about this. It's really hard to talk about this normally. I don't know how to talk about this without crying, honestly. I haven't had natural hair color since I was 16 years old because I started dyeing my hair when I was 17. We took these Polaroids for Lex to keep in his wallet. In his video, Lex says, "There is also a serious claim that I raped my ex-girlfriend Reagan. This statement made by her is completely inappropriate and false." Well, here I am proving that my statement is right, that Lex, you did in fact rape me when I was a minor, and I am willing to go to court for this, and I'm willing to prove myself in front of a judge with all of my information and all of my evidence.
Now, if we were to talk about her entire video response, we would be here all day, and the fact of the matter is this: I think she is a liar. This next part I'm going to show you had me in clear shock. I cannot believe that someone can be this dumb.
Said in his video that I used a fake ID at the Hollywood escape room that me, him, and all of his YouTuber friends went to. In my Google document, I provided a picture of a passport that Lex made for me at this escape room. The passport says December 12th, 1998, because Lex is born 1998 and he thought it would be smart to give me the same year as him because it would make us the same age or something. The date of the escape room that we did was August 20th, 2017, meaning that if my birthday was December 12th, 1998, I would have only been 17 years old, meaning that my fake ID would claim that I'm 17 years old. Lex's lie makes no sense because why would I have a fake ID to make myself appear only 1 year older? I was 16 years old at the time. A 17-year-old cannot even do anything legally in California. A fake ID saying I was born on December 12th, 1998 would not benefit me at all.
Okay, who's going to tell her? Is it you guys or is it me?
Because Lex is born 1998 and he thought it would be smart to give me the same year as him because it would make us the same age or something. The date of the escape room that we did was August 20th, 2017, meaning that if my birthday was December 12th, 1998, I would have only been 17 years old, meaning
I wish this was a joke. She got the mathematical side of things completely wrong, which I don't know how you even do. It just shows the lack of preparation she did for this entire response. All of her previous videos have now had their comments turned off due to the fact that she was getting a colossal amount of hate, which I would never endorse people to do, but I can't blame the people for getting angry over someone this idiotic. She did at some point in the video claims Lex is an evil person because he changed his profile on Twitter to a villain from a TV show called One Piece, because the character described as a manipulative person. I wish that was a joke, but this is the type of reaching she does in a 2-hour long video, so naturally my support goes to MrTLexify. I don't think he's the best person on the planet. He is still, to what I believe, accused falsely of being a pedo and a He definitely made mistakes along the way, but he isn't the monster she is painting him out to be. She describes the lore of this character as if it was to apply to him. This was over a profile picture he had on Twitter. But with all that being said, I will have to conclude this by saying maybe Lex isn't the best boyfriend ever. She was 100% a liar and a cheat, and in this rare instance, she was the one dating a minor as an adult. But this has seriously taught me to wait for both sides just before jumping into a situation. Admittedly, I believed her at first of all of this came out, but I'm glad I decided to wait for a response from Mr. T. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. A super thanks is appreciated but not expected. I've been WackyTV, and until next time, Mr. T can suck my willy.